Okay, and welcome back to part 2 of my tutorial for RPG Maker MZ's various tricks and things to learn. So, in part 1, I did the battle heads and menus. Now, part 2 is going to be eventing. And again, there's part 3 and 4 I have planned out as well. Now, eventing is the hardest part for me, the stuff I find the most infuriating, hardest to understand. There's still most of it I don't actually understand how to do, but there is some very important things that I did figure out here. And this is actually the most recent one, as in right now before recording, that in order to save event locations, it can't actually be done. I was trying to figure out how to do it, but it can't be done in the program itself, so you need a plugin for that. So the first thing on the list to show you here, pathfinding. Holy crap, that took me like a full day to figure out, to search and find a way to make this work. So what you need to do to tell an event or your character or such to move to a specific spot on the map, regardless of wherever their location is. Because right now, you can have your controlled movement, or you can have your event to be set to random movement, like that is, and so I'm running around like this, is by getting a custom script. Now, I explained in the previous part how the game has JavaScript files, text documents you can insert into the program folder to gain extra functionality, but there's also custom scripting. So this right here, this is the script that will command an event to make this action happen. So I have it set up here with this event already. Now the way that you do this is to have your event and you make a set movement route. Because if I show real quick, in the normal events commands back at the advanced tab, there was plugin command, which I showed before, but there's also the script tab here. So this is where you would paste this text, and you also have to do custom modification of this text yourself, being that you have to set the location that you want it to be for its target. So I don't know if that would work in the events script setting for itself, but the way that I do know it works is when you go into the set movement route for the command option, it too has a script section here. And so you paste that text in, and then that will appear in the list here. And that will look like, again, this. And I have the location set to where it is that I want it to go. So, and the movement route is for the event, for the encounter. Now, a couple other things to note. You need to wait for completion. The string of commands in the set movement route has to finish. It has to go through all of them. But also, you have to set the skip if cannot move, which will make it so that it will not be stuck trying to continue to move to that direction in perpetuity because of its setting where it's set to wait for completion. If it was, if it did not have the skip move command, it would just be stuck forever. But you can't set it to go to the specified location, whatever event it is that you want, and then once it gets there to exit the processing for that command line. There's no way to do that. But what I figured out that you can do is copy and paste the command as many times as you think is necessary for the maximum amount of range it would take for the event to reach the specified location. So I'm going to test that now and show you how this works. Fixed position. And then when the event triggers to move that event, it will still move. It should still move. There we go. So you see it's moving, it's 1, 2, 3, and just enough commands to make it all the way. And then it, goes back to its default state of not moving now because I set it to not move. Next on the list, layering events to add the sparkle effects. So this was really tricky to try and figure out how to do. Oh, right. I also need to explain the important part. The reason why this is necessary is because you can't put events on top of each other. That's all this is trying to accomplish here. Is I'm showing a way for how you can have events go on top of each other, because you can only have one per square. Okay, so I have come back to this now, as I have found some better ways to do the things that I was trying to do before. And yes, I'm redoing this part of the tutorial now. The way I was doing that before was by having a movement option set onto the events, such as here. But I keep forgetting for some reason that there's a set event location command in the event commands list right here. Set event location. So all you have to do is just click that and then click wherever it is you want your event to go, and then you can pile up as many events as you want on a certain square. And so the way this works now, so you have your image, which this is what I'm using for the sparkle effect. You have it walking, you have through on so it can stack. That's right, no, I still have it set for extra pages because of when it is that you want the interactions to take place in the chain of events. And so what I wanted was for the sparkle effect to be on this item, and then when you activate this event, the sparkle effect will disappear, and then you'll have the event do its commands trigger. So the way that works is by having the event set to auto run. So none of the stuff on this page matters because we want the event to auto run first to have its location changed. So it moves down onto here. Then you go to the control switch for the next page, and this is where the stuff for the event happens, where you want the sparkle. You have the custom route set to have it turn and repeat the movements, so it goes back and forth. And this is how you set the speed of which it will change between these graphics for simulating an animation. And then you have the priorities for the same as character and the event triggers. And then from there, you set the control switch to then go to the next page, which will be blank. So that alone is not enough, because what you also need to do is another trick that I just figured out in the process of figuring out how to do this stuff. This is all brand new to me. Is the idea for making a pre-event page, such as this one, on this event that I want the character to do something with, where it is set for the player to just be able to touch the event and then to control a switch onto the event page that happens, the next page, which is then run in parallel. Now, if it's set to just run on its own for auto run, I will demonstrate what the effect looks like. So there's a sparkle on it. The sparkle's moving. Ignore that for now. And so the other one is still working as it was before with the movement. But so here, now the effect has stopped because now I'm in the process of an event. And it won't disappear until after the event is finished. Like so. But what I wanted was for the sparkle to disappear at the moment of interaction with the event. And the way to do that is to simply run the event in parallel, which makes it so that the other events that are in the process of running are not stopped waiting for it. And boom, just like that. And that's the best and easiest way to add a little sparkle effect to your item on the screen. Now, for the other thing that I learned, I just happened to search for tutorial videos last night and found one from a guy that showed a neat trick, which I'll be linking, of course, to his video. And that trick is to play an animation on an event, which he was able to gather by getting a script for the game, a script call, which I have put in here. So parallel event behavior with action button triggers. That's the name of his video. So this text right here, you go into an event, and the way that he set it up, there's multiple ways to set it up. So you can have it run on its own. You can have it run before it's playing and then disappear after you touch it, or you can have it not run and then appear after you touch it and still be left there. So you set the custom route for the movement, and then again the movement route has its own scripting page. So you open that up and then you paste it in here, and then this is the part where you edit for which selection of the animation. Actually, I wonder if you could even do more than one animation. Let's see. Paste a new script call, like so. So you do that, and then you can play multiple animations on the screen, right? Yeah. And it sets repeat. So the configuration that you want, custom route. This I have turning left and right still for the graphic here to turn as such. You have it repeat movements, and then you have it set to player touch, and when the player touches the event will disappear, and then that will cause the animations to stop. Now, as I was doing this, I also realized that this is a cool trick and shortcut for playing animations on screen. However, this is only limited to the animations that you have built into the game engine, unless you use effects here or something to make your own custom animations. So what I did was I set an animation specifically for this, an animation slot where it played this effect, blue balls of light, and then that's how you get that effect on there, by calling up that event. So next, directional conditional interaction. Yes, to have the actor move onto event from any side. Alternatively, you can also just make the character teleport to the square for the movement sequence to take place. So what that's talking about is, say you have a place like this where you can approach it from multiple sides. So I have this event here for the character to pick up the doll. Maybe it's better if I just show it first so you understand the visual, is that the character will go, is supposed to go under. So the deal with this eventing tip is, if you have it set for a single location, then if you say I was standing here and talk to the doll, and if it was meant for me to be standing here for me to walk under it, then I would walk up one space over there. So simply what you need to do is just have a copy paste of the directions that your character can interact with the event to change that specifically, so that one, you see I have here for the character to move right if the player is facing right. Right, that's the important part. It's a conditional branch, which is the stuff that I'm very much not familiar with. So conditional branch, you click that event and you go character if the player is facing blah blah blah, one of the 4 directions. So you do that, you create that, and then you can set the movement route. So if the player is facing right, there's on this side of the doll when they talk to it, that's where you set the movement to have the player move right. Of course, you have the through and all that as well. And then you do the same again, copy, paste, except that the player is facing up, then you have the player to do such. And the other part to this, alternatively, you can just have the character teleport to the location that you want it to. So that would be, instead of doing if the player is facing, you just go, yes, transfer player. So this location, and then you can very conveniently just click to where it is that you want the player to teleport to. So you would set that event, and then you would set the one movement route that you have for your desired effect. I'm going to skip that one and go to, because I just showed the character going under the event. So the way that I have this set up is, for the idea is to have the character go under the graphic and then have it appear as though they are carrying the graphic, and then also being able to move around with it. The way that works is you have the character go under it with these settings, with the movement through, and then you change the actor's image. But you can't just change it to any image, of course, because what we want is for the directions to matter for showing movement. And the way that works is to find the sprite sheet, because the game has sprite sheets which have different effects based on where it is that it's trying to draw them from. So image, tile sets, and then this is one of the default ones. Inside C, there's the graphic for the doll. So the way that you do this now is you go GIMP, wait for that program to open up. Also, the other part that's important to note is you need to know the dimension parameters that the program will read for these images. And I had to look that up, and I found out that for the character sprites, the dimensions is 48 by 48 pixels. And so the way that you will want to do that is to have that set up for yourself is the preferences. And in, at least this is how where it is in this program. Of course, you'll have a difference. So default grid, and then here you'll have the spacing, and then there you'll set the numbers 48, 48. And then you do that and you click OK. And then when you set up the grid, there it will give you the spacing, and then you can see clearly what it is that you want to do. So here we're going to be in tile sets and inside image C. So I'm going to want to load that up, zoom in to the graphic that you want, and then rectangle, select, control copy, and then delete the layer. So you don't need that. And then next what you want to load is a character image sheet. So it can be, it appears that these are all the same, so it can be any of these. So I'll just pick one at random, throw that in here. Oh, see, that's what this weird mode thing does. I don't know why it does that, but if I delete that, if I change it to RGB, if I delete that, and then try again, and now it looks normal. Okay, now it was a different image size in here before, but that's easily fixed by just going fit canvas to layer, boom. Next, what you want to do is go to rectangle, remove the portion set for character movement. Okay, delete that. Then get rid of that selection. Try to get rid of that selection. Then Control V for, oh, I cut it. That's right. It can be done in either order, so that's fine. Just I got myself there. What's important is just that you get the graphic and just the graphic that you want. Copy that. Delete the layer. Control V. There we go. Now what we do is hit M to move the item there. Now the item is moved into place. Hit Control V again. It won't let you multiply this for no reason. You have to do it one at a time. Then you can, in this program, go for Control V again for the next line. And so we want it to be facing the right direction. And Control R, is it Shift R? Shift R. Okay, rotate. I believe 90 degrees, right? Rotate. There we go. 90 degrees. Rotate. Now it's facing the next direction. And then you can do copy paste. And then paste again. And then repeat the process again. Shift R, rotate. Rotate it 90 degrees. You want to, this is facing downwards selection. Or I guess facing upwards. Yeah. And again. And then 90 degrees. Rotate. There. Boom. File. Save. Yep. Merge the layers. Boom. And now, if we look back into the characters folder, oh, that's not right. Okay, always make sure you check Save As, because that is the wrong image that I just saved over. No. What we want is to go into Characters. Now I'll have to quickly replace that image as well. People 4. Okay, replace. Now our doll sprite is here. So once you've got that all pasted in place, then you look for it in your change actor image. That is a command over in the third page, change actor image under system settings. So you load that here for the character. Then you just find your new graphic, people. You see it selects it in different chunks. And there you go. You've now turned one of the graphics into a sprite for your character to be displayed as. And then you turn the event off with a control switch so that the image does not stay behind. The way that I tried to figure out how to do this before was to have the event follow the player, but that didn't work because it always made them stay one space behind instead of being on top of them. So this is how you achieve this effect. There. Now the character is carrying an item, and it walks around with them. And okay, next. To remind people about the jump to event command, I will link a video that explains that, which is not something I've delved into yet, but he showed that it's a very helpful, versatile command. That would be this to this event right here. And then lastly, here's the big one for my eventing discoveries, is how to make it so the player can be in the process of an event, which can then be interrupted by another event colliding with the player. So having event interruptions. Now, events cannot go over each other. So here you can see this event is stuck by the other invisible event. Even if it's above, the event cannot go over past it. So if you have an event that the player can touch, say it's here, and then our event is over here, and then the player, he's no longer enabled to be interacted by another event. Okay, so I moved the event around to be a better event. Here you can see my player is touching, talking. I'm going to go into the event. Still, no interruption from the other event. And then once the event is over, then I can be interrupted again. But what I wanted was the ability for this event to interrupt me while I'm in the middle of an event, which is what I figured out how to do with this here, is to run it in parallel. So that's the trigger, same as character, and is to have the through option on. And then that's how you enable events to be able to not block other events, and then therefore you're able to be interrupted by it. So I will show that now with the event I have set up here. So I touch this, I'm talking, and boom, interrupted. I was in the middle of having an event process happen, and then I got touched by another event that took priority. And then it was going to initiate the battle from there. And for the trigger for the event sequence to happen, while it's set to auto run, move up, this triggered the event, and here you see the event is touching me, but not able to interrupt me like it did before. It has to wait for me to finish the processing this event. But if I set it to parallel, again with through enabled, so the event is not blocking the other event from touching me, boom, I got interrupted. Okay, so that's it for this part. I hope you are able to gain some useful information out of this and enjoyed it and all, and we'll be able to check out the remaining parts that will be coming up. The biggest one being, again, I've found a way to animate enemies in RPG Maker MZ for the front view.